welcome to the Antisocial Planet, and today we are going to be checking out episodes 3 and 4 of Tower of God. So we started this webcomic a little while ago, and we just sort of, I got kind of the basics of a lot of like world building, a lot of setup on kind of the important concepts, what's going to go into this webcomic. So we learned kind of about the tower in general, that there is this tower that like grants wishes, and there are lots of different levels to the tower, and each level there's someone who kind of like curates it, someone who's in charge of that floor, and there are a bunch of different challenges that people have to overcome on each of those floors in order to, reach the top of the tower and get whatever wish or desire granted. So we have Rachel, who is the friend of the main character, Bam, wants to go to the tower and is also like interested in seeing the outside world. She talked a lot about being outside, seeing the sky and stuff like that in comparison to where she grew up. So we had her going towards the gate and it opening up and her getting pulled through, but we also had Bum going in after her, and he's one of these like extraordinary cases where he can actually open up the entrance to the gate himself, which is not how it usually works. You have to be let in to the tower in most cases. So we have our special kind of chosen one character going into the tower and meeting Hiden, who doesn't like when people just open up the entrance to the tower and walk in, because it tends to throw chaos into the hierarchy of this tower. So he has he's in charge of the first floor and decided that Bum's challenge to get to the next floor is going to be fighting this giant horned eel thing, and he has to like pop this ball somehow, which seems like a very vague way of putting the rules, but that's his challenge. And we had, what was her name? She was like a princess who showed up, and she's like with like her guide, because there's like a king of the tower. I obviously don't remember super well. I'll know when we get back into it, but she showed up and took an interest in Bam being there because she wants kind of the general state of the tower to be shaken up a little bit. So she's decided to help him and has given him some mystical weapon that is probably super strong and a little bit unwieldy, because, special weapons usually are of that nature. So we have Bam with the special weapon going towards this giant eel to fight it or outrun it, because really he just has to like pop the orb thing. So that's where we're at. Not a lot in terms of learning about the characters' personalities or like really what drives them, because Bum really is just trying to get to Rachel. Like, he's just trying to find his friend again. And I feel like what will be interesting is to kind of see like who he actually is as a person, because right now he's very like two-dimensional. But I do like the opportunity that the series presents, because if there are different people in all these different floors, then it means that there's lots of new characters that we get to meet, like people who are like in charge of the floors. There are these guides, there are like other people who just inhabit the tower and are in charge of like doing different jobs and stuff. I don't know if we'll cross over with any of the other people who are trying to get through the tower. Like, there's a lot going on with this whole operation, so I'm really looking forward to that. And you guys have told me that the artwork specifically gets a lot better in this series, and considering that I was already finding some cool details in the artwork the last couple of episodes that I read, I'm super excited to like see that like transition to some really cool artwork. I think it'll be like later on. I think it's like season 2. But let's read episode 3 and 4 and let's see how this whole fighting an eel thing goes down. Okay, Episode 3. Ooh. Okay, but like, I know you guys are like, the art gets way better, but that shot right there. Anyway, is this Rachel's perspective? I knew that it was Rachel that was like being shown, but is this like a little bit of her motivation, her backstory? Ugh. Hello, giant eel thing. Ugh, that determined look though. He's got this. Or at least he's determined enough to hopefully got this. Or is it Bomb talking about Rachel? And like she's the light in his darkness. It might be that. I would also like some good ideas about how he might win on account that he is like tiny and this giant eel is like more aggressive than normal because of the whole like time of year thing. I'm assuming the one way he can win is with the special weapon, if he can like unlock the potential of it or whatever. Oh, okay. Or avoid it. We've talked about running away as a good viable option. We just have to pop the ball. We don't have to fight the eel. So I'm behind this runaway tactic. Oh, someone explained to me a little bit about what Shinsu is in the comments, and I feel bad that I can't fully remember it now. But I feel like even just the way they're talking about it, because it's not really water, it's not really like a liquid per se in like being something that's like water-based, but it's some other kind of thing going on. So I assume it's like enhancing the eel in some way. Oh, now we're saying we just have to fight the eel? You gotta unlock the special sword power. That's the tactic, right? That's how we're winning this fight. Oh, we're doing the injure it from the inside trick. Like the first one I thought of was in Avengers when they're fighting the giant like space whales. And an Iron Man just like flies into its stomach. I want to know what the creepy hooded figures are. Like, are they like sentient beings? Are they some type of creature? What do they do? What are they for? Why are they being so creepy as they lurk in the background? Just some questions. Just some things that I would like the series to acknowledge at some point. I like how they're building this up a lot of being like, this is an impossible task. Like, there's no way that he can do it and succeed. And I'm like, he's gonna succeed, isn't he? He's gonna do something very like Chosen One-esque and like be able to use this like Black March and just completely go against everyone's expectations. Like, he's like, Lady Yuri's gonna have to save him. And I'm like, I bet he figures something out. I bet he pulls this off a lot better than people think. Can you just leave the tower? Like, can you just say, nah, I'm not gonna do this and just walk out? Is that an option? That feels like not an option. Like, I feel like people don't come out of the tower. Just a thought. Are we not running from the giant eel trying to swallow us? That seemed, I mean, unless he decides to fight it from the inside. I don't think he's afraid. I think he's just a little bit nuts. But in like a classic hero way. People might describe this as brave. But, I don't know, maybe it's just the skeptic in me that's always been like, brave is a nice way of putting questionable decision-making skills. Figured it out on his own. Okay. So he's good at the whole problem-solving thing. We got ourselves a bit of a clever boy. Good to know. It's a whole, like, Jonah in the whale situation, except like I assume that he's gonna fight himself out of the eel, whereas like Jonah just kind of like chilled in the whale until some angels helped them out. So like not exactly the same, but you guys know what you guys get where I'm going from. Fighting our way out. Hopefully able to injure it enough. I don't know how I feel about the angle of this panel. Like some questionable like perspective choices with this. I'm like artwork a little shaky on that one, but still effectively telling the story. So I don't know if Hiden is intentionally trying to teach a lesson or to like discover like preferable traits. I think he's just being a little bit sadistic. Seriously, who is this hooded thing lurking in the background? Are we gonna try and stab it now? Or the ball? We're gonna try and stab the orb. That's what I said. I said he was a little bit, but in like a, you know, hero kind of way. You know, we have to accept that most heroes are crazy, right? Like, most of them are crazy. It doesn't look like it popped. So, plan B? What do you mean, who knows? Don't play dumb. You made the challenge. Look at that smirk. I don't like you. I like your character design, though. That's always my issue. I like characters because of their design, but I don't like their personalities. Okay. After an ominous turn, Bomb did better with that whole distracting the eel, injuring the eel enough to be able to get to the ball than I thought he was gonna do. So good work. But now we've got something going on with the ball. So let's go into episode 4 and see how that's gonna turn out. We're in different clothes because it's actually a different day, so it's just the way it happens sometimes. Anyway, episode 4. Yes, the orb did not pop, which is very suspicious. He can't get the sword out? Is that why he wanted him to use the Black March? Because he knew that it was going to get stuck in the orb when he tried, like in the ball, when he tried to actually pop it? Sneaky. It can only end when he gives up? Oh, that is not happening. It's just, no. I think if anyone is gonna find a way, it's gonna be him. Especially since he's one of these irregulars, right? So, like, he's gonna do something, you know, irregular. Something very, you know, chosen one. And figure out a way that no one suspected. That's how protagonists roll. But he should figure it out before the giant eel decides to come back for round 2. Just a suggestion. Just your thoughts that I'm throwing around. He's gonna have to use the sword. That's what I've been saying. You gotta use the magic sword. It probably has some crazy power that can, like, break the ball. Because it's a magic sword. That's usually how these things go. Ask her to help. So is there some kind of sentience in the sword that it responds to? Interesting. Noted for later. Never worked for you, but it will work for Bomb. Because, like, we're making sure he's special, right? I always find it fascinating at the beginning of stories like this because it's always like trying to prove how special and how unique the protagonist is. And then they spend like the rest of the story being like, yeah, but special isn't good enough. The beginning of the story is always like, they're so special, they can do things that no one else can do, look how unique they are. And then the rest of the story is always just like, but it ain't gonna get you anywhere in the world. Like, it's only gonna get you so far. You're only gonna be able to rely on like luck and natural talent for so long. So I'll be excited to see what happens when he like actually has to kind of knows his, like, I'm assuming he has some kind of like unique characteristics as an irregular, and I'll be interested to see kind of where he progresses once he knows what those characteristics are and can like fully utilize them. Whatever personality is in this sword is a little bit of a difficult person to deal with. I feel like Bob would be good with that, because if he is so determined and like he's so set on something, like when he sets his mind to it, that if he is like determined and certain that he's going to use the Black March to get something done, he's not gonna just give up because it's difficult. So I feel like he will be able to kind of get to a point where he can use this weapon. I'm also a very stubborn person, so maybe I'm just defensive. People tend to like me though, so maybe there's something for determination and stubbornness. Da, da, da. Hum glow. That's how you know something special's happening. Hello, lady. Is this the thing that we saw in the last chapter that was like the silhouette of like some feminine creature, and it was like, she's the light in my darkness or whatever? Is this what it was actually about? Because it's a very similar setup, but it's like mirrored. So before it was like this figure was kneeling down on the left side of the panel with like towards someone who was like on the ground on the right, and now it's flipped, right? So we have the figure crouching down on the right side with the person on the ground on the left. So either it is a separate scene like with different people, but it's meant to be connected to this moment, or it was like another moment in which the being that is Black March showed up. Either way, it's like an intentional parallel, I think. See, and here's the panel again. That was at the beginning of the last episode. So intentional connection, right? So either he is linking the Black March, this thing, to like an interaction with Rachel, or he's connecting it to some other person. Like, I'm still not entirely sure who it was in that panel that was like, because the like yellowy glow around the lettering connects it to Bomb, which is like the narration of that scene, but I'm not sure exactly who was in the scene because it didn't look really like anyone that I recognized. I assumed it had to do with Rachel because he was talking about like a she that was the light in his darkness, and I'm like, well, the only she that we've connected with him is Rachel. So is this meant to draw a parallel between how he feels about Rachel and like their meeting and what their friendship was? Or does it have some other connotation to like what that moment was? Like, is there some other feminine person in Bomb's past that has kind of like a guardian savior vibe? I'm not far enough in the series to like make a lot of assumptions and connections yet, so calling her a tomboy, didn't they call the spirit in the Black March, or the being in the Black March, a tomboy? So we are making connections between Rachel and Black March? Is that how we're like establishing how Bomb is gonna feel about this spirit presence thing? You like boring people? Hun, we're on a different wavelength then. I'm uncomfortable with this interaction. Also, the scaling seems weird, but I feel like that's just the artwork, and I'm gonna forgive it. But like this panel, Bomb's head looks way bigger than hers, in like a way that like it shouldn't. This is a very like Sword in the Stone vibe. If any of you are familiar with the King Arthur mythology, or the like, I guess the like romanticized mythology, the like Celtic mythology about King Arthur is a little bit different. I don't think there's a sword in the stone that I know of. I read a lot of Celtic mythology. Everybody a little bit apprehensive, nervous. I'm a little bit nervous because now that he's ignited the power, like, what does that mean? How does he use it? What is this ignited power thing? I am concerned from many different angles. And what's it gonna mean to like Hedon? Because if he just wanted to get the Black March by like having it trapped in the ball or whatever, then how does he feel about the fact that this is like not going to plan? Like, is he gonna let Bomb just like move on to the next level even if he passes? Because he seems like he has one, an ulterior motive, and two, a little bit malicious against irregulars in general. So it was sexism. I love Lady Yuri so far. She's probably my favorite, but like we've met, what, 5 characters? How was it supposed to burst? Weren't we supposed to break the ball? How was it supposed to break? I don't know if thunder is what I want to be happening in close proximity to one of our characters. I don't like the fact that he is being swallowed up by this dark force thing. That's usually not good. It's usually not a good thing. He disappeared. What does that mean? Is he teleported? Is he in some weird other dimension? What was the ball? What does the black electricity thunder mean? I have many questions, Rabbit Man. Granted his wish. To be with Rachel? To go up the tower? To go to the next level? Which wish? So he has been teleported somewhere. But it's a little bit ambiguous about where exactly? Who are we talking to? Who are we talking to? The colors are bleached out again. I feel like this has to be something to do with just like them traveling in between floors. And it's just like a marker of them kind of being in between like actual spaces. It might just be like even like a lighting thing. Like there's less lighting as they're traveling between floors. He'll definitely change. He's gotta. This tower is gonna do something cruel to him. Beauty or power to seduce him. Maybe? I feel like more so, I feel like he has all of this attention on this Rachel girl, and he's like, I'll just follow her forever, and even if it means I have to like lose my life, I'm gonna try and find her. And like, I don't mean to like play the like damsel in distress card, but this Rachel girl feels like she's kind of standing on a field of death flags, you know? Like I feel like if any character is gonna be killed off or like turn evil in or like, that Bomb is going to lose someone in some way, it's gonna be this Rachel girl. Just putting that out now. We're only 4 episodes in, but like, new floor, new character. Okay, so there's like I mean, I guess that's true, because if Bomb opened up the gate to get into the tower himself, that means that like he probably didn't end up where he was supposed to, because like the tower didn't control it, and he wouldn't have really known how he was controlling it or like where he wanted to end up. So makes sense that he would have ended up on like the wrong floor or like in the wrong place. It's interesting to me that there's like this implication that Evan came from outside of the tower, and now he's just working in the tower, like he's just a guide, like he never got out, which is like something that I brought up before. I was like, I feel like people don't actually get out of the tower. Like I feel like you either get stuck in it or you die trying. Because like, how do you know that someone who has been in the tower, like does anyone know anyone who has been in the tower? How do you know that their wishes actually get granted? Like is it just a myth? Or are there like people out living their lives being like, hey, the tower granted my wish, my desire? Ooh, the innate features of your race. What race are you? You're tiny, I remember that. Tell me about your people. Give me world building, Evan. I like that it ends with the like, Hayden's floor is cleared, like very video game-esque, like achievement unlocked. I always feel like when I get to the end of these videos that I don't have enough to say, because I say a lot of it while I'm reading, because it's not like in my like normal reactions where I don't pause. I can literally just stop whenever I want to while I'm reading and talk about things. So I feel like mostly this was like a bit more action packed, so I didn't have as much to say in terms of like setting up the world so much. Like I feel like the last couple of episodes that I read in my last video were very like, okay, let's set up how the world works, let's set up the mechanics of how the story is going to work, whereas this one was a little bit more, let's establish who Bomb is and like some of the connotations of that, right? Like, you know, the fact that he is an irregular, the fact that he does have certain, I don't know, characteristics about him. I'm not really sure if it's like a power set or if it's just like, I don't know, an essence. Like they talked about how Evan was like, you're going to be surprised by how much people are like drawn to you. So I feel like they were kind of establishing like, okay, here's a really difficult problem and Bomb is able to deal with it because of him being an irregular and because of who he is. And I feel like that'll both help and hinder him in any good story. There has to be some kind of fallout to a power set, right? There has to be limitations and there has to be some kind of cost to those abilities, because if there isn't, it just doesn't make for a dynamic story. So I feel like we're gonna learn a little bit more, maybe in wherever he got teleported to. We're gonna kind of see how he starts to discover exactly what he is capable of as an irregular. And then later on, it's going to be establishing, okay, like what are the limitations? What's the fallout? Like, especially since we had with Hayden, where it was like, he was so malicious, like he was so hard in how he picked the challenge because Bomb is an irregular. Like he went the extra step to make the challenge impossible. Like it should have been impossible. So because Bomb was an irregular. So I feel like that politics, that kind of view of irregulars is going to be something that comes back again. Also the flip side of like Lady Yuri, who is like, I want to help him because he's an irregular and he's going to shake up the dynamics of how the tower works. And she kind of seems like a bit of an outlier, her and Evan, because we established that Evan is from outside of the tower and he came in, he doesn't remember why. and he's become a guide as a result of coming into the tower. So both of them feel kind of like they're a little bit removed from what the tower is. Like they're more easily able to look at it from a bit of a wider lens than I think some of the other people are. It does make me wonder, like, who is born in the tower, created in the tower, and who has come to the tower and just stayed. I know that we had Evan talking about how he's like a different race. He's a different kind of creature, so they're like human. I'm assuming Bomb is human. Maybe I'm making a mistake with that, but so we're kind of seeing that there's like more going on with, you know, the creatures that are in the tower, the creatures that are outside of the tower, like what exactly is going on with like the different characters that we're going to be meeting. So I'm excited to kind of see where we're going to end up. I don't know where Bomb actually is, if he's going to be at this floor, this like starter floor, this like test floor that they were talking about, or if he's going to be somewhere else. I know that Lady Yuri and Evan are going towards this test floor to try and find him, so I don't know if we're going to get kind of like a parallel storytelling of like them trying to find Bomb and then Bomb kind of doing his own thing. But intrigued with the start of the story, and hopefully it'll just continue to interest me. I had some people talk about how it has lots of like world building and mythology and like that kind of side of things, which I really, really love. I know it's not for everybody, but I always love really complex worlds. So I love that aspect to this already. So I hope you enjoyed reading along with me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!